going on, rockers? Um, so before we get into this, I wanted to just say really quickly, I'm making changes to the show. This was never something I had fully flushed out. So as I'm going, I'm experimenting with things here and there. Um, I'm also probably the number one consumer of music from the 412 content because I'm watching everybody else's shows to get inspired and get ideas of what I can do to make my gig better, right? So, so you might see some changes here and there to the format and things like that, but it's still going to be me interviewing bands and talking to you guys in my car. So, anyways, tonight I am right here outside of Mario's 410 Grill in Bridgewater, Beaver County. Never been here before, but the Alter Egos are playing here tonight. Altered Egos. Because if I say Alter Egos, it's going to sound weird. So it's Altered Egos. And the main guy that I've been talking to, his name's Eric. He and I have, like I said, we were texting back and forth, and he sent me a text a little bit ago saying, hey, they're moving the gig inside because it was supposed to be an outdoor gig, but it's like 52 degrees and it's only going to get colder as the sun goes down. Sun's not even really out, so it's the last day of May and this is what we're dealing with. It's Pittsburgh for you, right? So we're moving the gig inside, and I guess he's probably a little concerned that maybe not it won't go off the way we'd hope it would, but I think we'll be all right. I think I can make it work. So worst case scenario is that I just hit delete on all this and nobody ever sees it. So, but I think we're going to be all right. And that's that, man. So let's go. This is another Backstage Ambush. I'm Danny, and today I am here at, I hope you can see it, Mario's 410 Grill. And these folks right here are the Altered Egos. So, Paula, right?
Rebecca.
Why did I say Paula?
I have no idea.
It's like all kind of.
You're giving me an alter ego.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Bingo.
Yeah.
So this is Rebecca. She plays keys, guitars, and sings, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Eric, and you play guitar.
Play guitar, yeah.
Sing a little
bit.
I saw on your website you say like
reluctantly
sing.
Reluctantly
And
crouch
over
the
here
starting
is
line.
Paul. This is Paul. See, that's where the Paul came in.
Right.
Exactly.
Paul.
No sex changes.
No.
Yeah.
Paul is on bass, right?
That's right.
You sing a little too, or
Yeah, backup stuff.
Backup stuff? Okay.
Some dad jokes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dad jokes.
the purveyor of the dad.
My
jokes.
voice is a little low for a lot of them.
Okay. So, 20 or 2000, I always do that. Every time I try to say 2000 or 20 something, it comes up 2000.
Right.
So 2021 is when you guys started.
Yeah, we did.
How did that happen?
Well, so, so I moved back from New York and I was playing in a band up there, wanted to get like a band going back here. So I called people that I kind of like, I knew a couple of people that played, but I really hadn't spent any time in the music scene back here. And so my daughter like wanted to get involved. Paul actually had the PA equipment that I was picking up, and I told him, I said, "Hey, you play bass. We have a bass player now, but
You never know.
stay in touch, right?"
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had a keyboard player that was like, his aspirations weren't matching. So Rebecca and I'd worked together for about 5 or 6 years at that point, and had her over for dinner, and I just kind of said, "Hey, you're going to join our band." And now she never played like in a rock band before, but she was classically trained on piano and voice and all that stuff.
That's the look we want.
Yeah. And so, and my wife was trying to give her every out, and it was going to happen. I mean, I knew she would join.
You didn't allow me any outs.
I mean, no,
No, you did.
No, I did. You were
Be
going to
honest.
join. Yeah, right. Yeah, but you're still here. So,
I am.
right.
Yeah.
So you dragged Paul in, you dragged Rebecca in.
Well, so Paul wasn't there yet. So we had another guy, and then a few months later, like we started getting gigs, and like the first year we were getting playing like free shows, but we wanted to play stuff that was more than like some of the people that joined with us. Their aspirations weren't quite what we wanted to kind of evolve to.
2.5 chord rock and roll.
And like we kind of like looked at it,
But yes.
and like if we were going to do it, we wanted to do it kind of right,
Yeah.
And so then I was like, hey, we need a bass player, so let's call Paul. So all joined in. So it's really the four of us. Anna's on her way here at a wedding today. But so Anne's my daughter. She it's the four of us that are really the full-time members, and then we have a few drummers that we have,
Talented guys.
really talented guys, and it's gotten better because we're getting better gigs and all that stuff. So
Okay.
we're now people kind of want to play with us, which is cool. Like it really makes it easier.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed since I've done these interviews, and I'm not trying to throw shade on anybody,
Right.
but the thing that I've realized of the interviews that I've done, probably the average age of the musicians of the entire batch is maybe 45 to 50.
Yeah.
So I say, like, again, I'm not throwing shade because it's actually inspiring me. Like, maybe I should throw these stupid phones down and get back into gigging, because it
Never
just
too
seems
late.
like
No.
It's never too late.
Never too late.
no. So like when it comes to that idea, like these, everybody's, your parents and I'm technically a grandparent. Like,
Wow.
yeah, like you're out there doing this. Like, does that ever like cross your mind of like, this should be a young man's game, but apparently the young men don't want to do it.
Well, I think there's a couple things with it. I think that a lot of like the real young men are out in Nashville, LA, and they're on the road, right?
Right.
The people that are playing
They're
in
trying to
local
make it
bands,
big.
they're trying to make it big. We kind of realize this is like there's things we want to do and there's aspirations we have. But like for the most part, like your youngest is in high school. Your youngest is
Not.
married. both married.
both of mine are, and they're like playing in the one. My youngest is in the band with us. So like, it kind of like you get to a point where you can actually like I can afford equipment that I couldn't afford when I was younger.
Yeah.
And we also kind of have like, our lives established where like you don't have to be at home with the kids every night,
I'm going to disagree with you slightly, because we do know bands that have a lot of really young youth, but
We
their
do.
aspirations are a little bit different.
That's right.
We're running ourselves like a business.
Yeah, we are.
And
Yeah,
I
we are a
think
business.
that-
We're
Well,
incorporated.
we are incorporated.
Yeah.
But some of the other bands we know that are younger, they really are like just tuned into their musical
Yeah.
aspirations. And we're looking at it more from what do we want to do and what do our crowds and fans want to hear.
Right.
And that makes a little bit of a difference.
I think
Like,
that's the other piece of it too. Like Eric said, Danny, the people who can afford the time and the money
Yeah.
to come out and see bands on a regular basis fall into that age group you're talking about.
that's
They
true.
do. And so, the one thing we looked at, I mean, if I had my druthers, I'd be like in an all 70s, like a 70s funk band. Or I'd be playing like B-sides of Rush albums and stuff,
Right.
But like,
Wants to hear that.
but I mean, I want to
That's
hear
the
it.
problem.
But that's the
yeah.
thing.
I
So-
want to hear it.
Right.
Sure.
Sign me up.
It's a niche crowd.
But
Oh,
like,
very small crowd.
but like, so the thing is we said early on, I said this, and you can cut this if you want, but like,
No.
I was like, I don't want to be like an old white dude playing music for other old white dudes by other old white dudes.
Yeah.
Like, like I don't want, like, I love the Allman Brothers, man. I love those bands. But like, I want to do something that's going to have especially with like Jurgles gigs, and like if we would have been outside tonight,
Yeah,
because it's 37 degrees right now.
Pittsburgh, spring.
The thing is though, is we know like for our crowds, we need to have, people out on the dance floor. And like there's songs that I necessarily, a part of me dies when I play them. But like after you say,
shut up and dance is fun.
That's learn to like it and
Yeah.
appreciate it.
but the thing is though, is like, but here's the thing though. So you kind of transcend yourself and your musical aspirations or taste, and you watch the joy that you bring by doing songs that you wouldn't think that you would ever play.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, like people are having fun. And that's what kind of feeds us is like, when people are having fun, and we're going to do some crazy stuff coming up, like that would be like things I would never imagine doing. People love that stuff. And if they're having fun, and I mean, at the end of the day, they're
The energy from the crowd.
the energy from the crowd feeds us.
Absolutely.
And we'll do some zany stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess that leads me to the next question. I've asked this to other bands. What is it that makes one of these cover songs, what makes the cut, the ones that you will play? Because I looked at your list, and it's like you're going from B-52s, and you're also playing Metallica. Now, granted, you are playing the most popular Metallica song there's ever been, or Sandman.
Right.
But that's still the genre, the style of it is night and day.
I think the common thread there, and we look at everything and we go, okay, the one thing is we try to play songs that like we want to be a little bit beyond like the normal bar band type stuff, because we don't just play bars.
We don't want to play the same old song.
We don't play the same old songs. We don't want our crowd doesn't want to hear the same old song. So like every time we do like a major show, and usually we kind of wrap that around like larger gigs like Jurgles or Vinoski Winery, where we'll be like, okay, we got people coming to see us, so we'll do about a 30% changeover in songs. But to your point, like we jump styles. One, we can do it.
Yeah.
The second thing is like the energy from the crowd is there. But like we also want, like, some people love the B-52s, some people don't like the B-52s, some people love Metallica, some people love Joe Walsh. We want to be able to have some sort of resonance with everybody that's in the crowd. So even if there's
Everyone.
so if there's somebody like me who's just like if I hear somebody play like a really cool tune that I like, I'm going to be on board with that band, and like I'm gonna be like, look, I didn't like 10 of those songs, but they played that and they killed it. Like, and that's what we kind of look for.
Yeah.
We like
You're casting a wide net.
Well, we want to surprise the crowd every now and then. That's what Eric's talking about.
Yeah.
Some fun stuff coming. But the other thing is, since she's not here, I'll just mention this. Ann and her friends bring a younger crowd.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, I don't want to be, like Eric said, an old guy in a band playing the same songs I learned when I was 12.
Right.
Because there's not as much an audience for that.
We do some of those though.
We do a few of them. We do the ones we like, right?
And they have good crowd response. I mean, I'm not doing like Boree from like
It's all about the crowd.
I will say though, some of the young people come up to me and be like, "I know that song. I heard it in the movie."
Right.
I'm like,
Older,
I heard it
mom
when
and
I was
dad.
young. My mom and dad. Yeah.
They're 8-track.
That's brilliant. So, and I've also asked this about a lot of other bands of like, you obviously have careers going on, and how do you manage that? The careers, kids, the band. How are you managing with all that?
Well, you have a heavy lift.
I
Wonder Woman.
I do. I have 5 kids, a full-time job, side business, the band, the whole 9 yards.
And her full-time job is
Pretty full-time.
Yeah.
But everything falls in place, and my kids think it's cool that mom is kind of taking time out for her, and I get notes like on our feed saying like, "Hey, my stepmom is cooler than your stepmom."
Yeah.
Which fuels me, and I think it helps show them that you can be a mom and you can have a career, but you can also have your own interests and invest in them and round yourself out personally, and that's so important. And I think it's teaching them really important lessons, and they support it and they make room for it and adapt to it. So it works.
I think part of it too is, my personal belief is every person is born as a creative person, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but there is an entire symphony orchestra in LA called the Lawyers Philharmonic of Los Angeles.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
So like even lawyers want to be creative, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so for us, this is a major creative outlet. Like Rebecca said,
Yeah.
it's an opportunity to show people that you can have fun. And it's amazing, to play 30 or 35 times a year.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and my wife will joke to me that somebody will say, "Have you been to this place?" And she'll say, "No, we had a band gig that night."
Yeah.
Oh, geez. And it's funny because when maybe this happens to you guys too. It's like when there's something she doesn't like, it's my band. But when it's something she likes, it's our band.
That's right. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, the other creative part of it too is we actually just released an album, like, which, so like, you know, so we released an album. It's on vinyl. It's out on Spotify.
You could buy it through the alteregos.com.
Yeah.
Vinyl.
So like, but like that was kind of fun because now like it's fun to play other people's songs. It's really fun to play your own songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like we played Millville Music Festival 2 years in a row now. You know, and you know, like the folks at Jurgles and other places are starting to notice that, like, look, you're folding your songs in. They're starting to get traction, you know, and it's not just like, hey, it's bathroom break time because we're going to do an original. Like, people are actually grooving to it. So that's really cool. So that takes that creativity to another level.
I can tell you, and this is 100% God's honest truth. Last week, this past week, I was at work. I had my laptop open and I was playing music from the 412s, the radio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting there working, and I heard something, and I looked down, and I could see on the screen Max and Ruby. The electric
that's right.
I was like, boom! That's a kismet, right? You know, like,
right.
I know. I think I already hit you up before that to do this. So like, I'm like, yeah, there it is. You guys are already on music from the 412. Go check them out.
Those guys are great.
Yes.
Those guys are great.
Yes,
they've been big allies, big fans. They do a lot for the local music scene, the local originals, and that's really a hard thing because, like, you know, you have a lot of action going on with like tribute bands. You have a lot of action going on with like period bands.
Yeah.
We get kind of thrown in the category like, what do these people do until people hear us? And we're also doing originals. Like, it's like the whole split is like, you know, you've got like original bands here, no gigs, no pay, like, or, you know, they're playing like 30-minute sets. You have tribute bands, which are like immediately, you know, scooped up because, hey, we like the Eagles, we like such bands.
Right. So Jurgles can sell a Motley Crue night. Yeah.
That's
right. With this, what's it, Steel City Crew?
Just by name.
Just by that. Like, they know, boom, okay,
that's
anybody who's a fan of Motley Crue is going to be interested in that game.
Right.
And they have like instant credibility and instant fan base there.
Right.
So for bands that are doing just straight up covers or doing originals, a mix of covers and originals, it's tough. So we try to kind of fold it in. Yeah. But yeah, it's working for us, which, you know, we're 3.5 years in now, and it's
we've grown.
Bottom line is always the bottom line, which is to say that a band can play to an empty room, or a band can play to a crowd that's out on the floor dancing. And that's what we're focused on.
Right.
And you know, when we bring 500 people to a gig at Jurgles, the goal is 3 hours of solid music straight on.
Yeah, no breaks.
Well, I was talking to I think is that Mario, the guy that
I think so. Yeah.
Because I was talking to him, and I was telling him what I was there to do, and you know, he's like, so you think these guys are just gonna be all right in here? And I'm like, I honestly don't know, man, but like, those tables are awfully close to the stage.
Yeah.
I'm like, if people are gonna try and dance, like, it's gonna be a problem. And he's like, yeah, I think you're right, man. We should. I'll move these tables over out of the way. I'm like, all right, man.
Yeah.
You know, he's asking me. I'm like, man, this is your joint. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. Like, but, you know, you might want to maybe, you know, make a little.
Thank you for the assess.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I just want my 5% at the end of the night. That's all.
That's hey, yeah.
I'm the CFO of the organization. Come chat with me.
Yeah,
got you. See. Yep. All right, so tell the people where they can find you. You know, socials, website. Looking that in.
Yeah, so we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, Altered Egos. Looks like that right there. That's commitment.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I noticed that myself.
Yeah. That was my birthday last year. I was like, hey, I want to do like John Frusciante with the Chili Peppers thing.
There you go.
But yeah, we're Instagram,
TikTok,
Spotify. So the other thing, Spotify and Apple Music. Go out there, follow us, Amazon. Support local original music.
Yes.
We'd appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Get in there and kick some ass.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rockers. Been a long night. Yeah. It's a good thing that they moved this gig indoors because it is absolutely frigid out here right now. Surprised I don't have to scrape my windshield before I go home. Yeah, they would be playing to a bunch of popsicles if they had kept this gig outdoors. And then the indoor side of it, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know if these guys, I'm not trying to throw shade on Mario's, and I'm sure not trying to throw shade on the Alter Egos, but like, I don't know if Mario's does these kind of like gigs indoors all the time. Now, obviously, there's a stage there. I've never been here before. I don't really know what their schedule looks like as far as bands playing here. And but yeah, when we walked in, like there was literally tables right up at the edge of the stage. I mean, like a foot away from the edge of the stage. And at some point, I don't know who it was I was talking to, but like guys like the manager of the club or the place, whatever. I was like, oh, do you usually leave the tables up there at the front of the stage? And he's like, oh, I don't know. Do you think I should move them? And I'm like, well, I mean, they are literally at the edge of the stage. And I'm like, I don't know. And he ended up moving them, a couple of them at least. But yeah, that was the night. And remember, these guys are already on Music from the 412. So you can find their music there. Go check out their socials. All right. And then also you'll find this video and other videos of mine over at Music from the 412 and on YouTube at Earth Rocker Media. And until the next time, guys, keep rocking.